All right, so I talk a lot about burnout because I know it is a huge problem for first responders. And we've been talking about the different triggers. As a general rule, we can kind of condense this down into six triggers. The second one is the constant exposure to trauma, because that leads to emotional exhaustion, compassion fatigue, and ultimately burnout. If you are constantly witnessing distressing scenes and dealing with life-threatening situations, you are exposed to trauma, human suffering. And eventually it's going to start to erode your resilience and it's going to really test your strength. Now, with time, we see the burnout starts to creep in, the emotional numbness, the detachment, cynicism, the inability to actually really cope with day-to-day life, let alone go off and do such an important and difficult job. And when you can't do your job at your full capacity, when you're not operating at your best, we know that that creates problems for everybody around us. And long term, ultimately, it erodes your enjoyment of the job and you lose your focus. You lose the reason why you started in the first place. You forget about the reason why you actually went into that career in the beginning. And of course, it jeopardizes your safety, the safety of everybody around you, and anyone you're trying to help. Now, there are ways to manage this. There are ways to mitigate these triggers. There are ways to manage burnout, manage the effects of trauma. And one of the first things we need to do is make sure we can actually recognize the signs early on. So understanding what burnout is and recognizing that in yourself, and then going out and doing things that help you navigate that. So whether that is going into your support network and speaking to the people you care about, going to your relevant professional, be that your coach, your therapist, your counselor, whatever that looks like for you, and getting the tools and the tactics and the training that you need to help navigate that. Of course, taking time to actually go and do those things. So these stress management practices, these skills that you learn, they will help build your resilience and they'll help you cope more effectively, but it's on you to actually go and do them. So making sure that you are using them effectively, efficiently, and regularly alongside all of the other things that we know will help you. Regular exercise, taking care of your diet, making sure you're getting plenty of rest and recovery, and of course, engaging in the things that help you to switch off and to calm your nervous system down. Now, all of this is possible. We don't have to become victims of burnout. We don't have to become victims of all these different individual triggers that put us in a state of burnout. If we are able to address this and ultimately address the mental health and the well-being of first responders, then we can deal with it. It's not just quite as simple as one thing's going to fix it. It's a multifaceted approach, and we need support from organizations. We need support from relevant professionals. We need individual resilience and the ability to actually go and take care of ourselves. But if we're willing to do that, then we can cope with the demands of the profession. We can cope with the trauma. We can cope with the burnout and effectively continue to serve your community and do your job as well as you usually do. Now, if you want to deep dive into some of this stuff, if you want to learn some practical skills, if you want to manage your stress, build resilience, reset the nervous system, and ultimately learn what it actually takes to stop burnout, then I've got something special that drops on Monday. Just drop me a line and I will send you the details through before anybody else gets them, because there's some extra special bits in there for the first people that get involved. So if you have any questions on this, reach out. And if you want the details on how to get involved in something super special, drop me a line.